2018 Parish Planning and Zoning Board meeting. I would like all to please stand while Coach Williams says the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, again we come thanking you for allowing us to see another blessed day. Thank you for your suffering and dying, shedding blood for the remission of our sins. We just ask that you, for your presence tonight in this meeting, bless this board and bless this staff. Ask that blessing for those who have come seeking our help. And we ask a special prayer for those young people in Florida and their parents and children who have witnessed another school shooting. We ask that you comfort them. We know you know everything, you know all about us, and you're not going to leave us. And we ask for comfort for them at this time. And we ask that prayer for the sick and the poor and the needy everywhere. And this we offer as our prayer this night. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Coach. Ms. Christie, would you please call the roll?
Chair Art Little.
Here.
Vice Chair Randy Armator.
Here.
Mr. James Forshey.
Here.
Miss Latricia Cobb.
Here.
Miss Julia Dickerson.
Here.
Miss Sharon Galicia is out of town. Miss Janelle Hyatt.
Here.
Mr. Kyle Link. Mr. Gary Navarre.
Here.
Mr. Kirk Smith.
Here.
Mr. LaSalle Williams.
Here.
This is an 11-member board. It will take a majority of those members present to grant or deny any request tonight. The chair will refrain from voting unless that vote might affect the outcome. The meeting will be conducted with me reading the request from the agenda. The planning staff will give a presentation and report their recommendations. If the applicant would like to add to the staff's presentation, or if someone from the audience has comment, please come to the microphone and state your name, address, and the nature of your request. All persons wishing to speak other than the applicant need to fill out a blue card, a request to appear form, located in the back of the room. This form needs to be turned in to a staff member prior to the reading of the agenda item. As required by this board's bylaws, in all cases, the proponents will be limited to 10 minutes. Opponents will be granted 10 minutes as well, with each speaker allowed no more than 3 minutes. I recommend that a spokesperson be selected if there is a large group wanting to speak on the same agenda item. If 4 or more speakers' request forms are submitted, time allowed for individual speakers will be limited based upon the number of forms submitted. The chair has a right to limit speakers who present redundant information or personal attacks. In unique situations, the chair may extend, or the board may vote to extend, the time allotted for speakers. After discussion, the board will vote on each request. I will announce the decision of the board after the vote. The variance requests and primary subdivision approval are final tonight. The road abandonment and rezoning cases will go before the police juror for final action on February the 15th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. This meeting is being filmed by the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel and can be viewed on Wednesday and Thursday following the meeting. For additional run dates, check the website at www.cppj.net. Channel 5 in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Moss Bluff, Westlake, Vinton, DeQuincy, and Gillis. Channel 99 in Corliss and Grand Lake. This time, I'd like everyone to please turn off all electronic devices. Item number 5 is to take appropriate action to approve the minutes of the January 9th, 2018 Planning and Zoning meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I will entertain a motion for approval. I have a motion made by Coach Williams, second by Ms. Cobb. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, take appropriate action on sub 01180093, a request by Ricky Guidry for preliminary subdivision approval to allow a single-family residential subdivision, 20 lots in Saddle Ridge subdivision in the 9900 block of Robinson Road in Ward 2. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
I have
Second.
a motion by Mr. Navarre and seconded by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located in the Homewood area and encompasses nearly 32 acres of agricultural zone property. The applicant would like to divide the land into 20 lots for residential development. The smallest lot in the development would be 1.22 acres, while the largest would be 2.25 acres. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the development meets the requirements for agricultural zoning, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development is subject to an application for and/or compliance with an LPDES stormwater discharge permit, which may be required through the Department of Environmental Quality and the Calcasieu Parish Division of Planning and Development, and that the preliminary plat and the drainage impact analysis must be approved by the Division of Engineering prior to submittal of engineering plans.
Does the applicant have anything they need to add to the staff's recommendations? We have no blue cards.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, sir.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I was writing down notes and I didn't hear if the motion was made to approve with stipulations or not. And I'd like that to be reflected if it was to be with stipulations.
It was to be with stipulations.
Okay. Thank you.
No blue cards. Any of our board members have any questions or comments? None being heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item number 7, take appropriate action on item AB 0118-0006, a request by Calcasieu Parish Division of Planning and Development to abandon and revoke the original dedication of an unnamed road in the 3200 block of East McNeese Street in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Cobb, seconded by Mr. Navarre. Ms. Wallace?
This right-of-way is located mostly within the city of Lake Charles. It was originally dedicated to the police jury in 1967, but does not appear to have been utilized as a public road since then. The property owners abutting the right-of-way would like to sell the land, but must have the right-of-way formally abandoned before the sale can proceed. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the road was never constructed, the staff recommends that the request be granted, excluding any portion of right-of-way within the existing right-of-way of East McNeese Street.
Thank you. Does the applicant have anything else to add? We had one blue card, also was for this. Do you have Mr. Jeff Fugé? No. You're welcome to speak if you wish.
Jeff Foshee, 1100 Camellia Boulevard, Lafayette, Louisiana, 70508. I was speaking on behalf of, this happening. We're the developer of the and purchasing the property. So I don't really have anything unless I need to justify it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Any of the board members have any questions or comments? No questions and comments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 8, take appropriate action on VAR 11170030, a request by Diana Smith for a variance to allow a dwelling with less than required public road frontage, required 100 feet, requesting 50 feet, and with less than required lot square footage, required 43,560 square feet, requesting 28,344 square feet at 1030 Hollis Road in Ward 4. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
I have a motion by Coach Williams,
Second.
and a second by Mr. Forte. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located adjacent to the city of Westlake and is zoned single-family residential. The applicant's entire lot is approximately 2 acres in size. She would like to subdivide the lot into 2 and donate 1 lot to her son. The lot to be donated does not meet the road frontage or the square footage requirements, therefore an approved variance is needed. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the lot is consistent with the others in the area, and because of the close proximity to the urban service area, the staff recommends the request be granted.
Thank you. Does the applicant have anything else to add? We have no blue cards. Board members, y'all have any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 9, take appropriate action on variance 12170032, a request by Carmite Properties LLC for a variance to allow 3 dwellings and 1 duplex with less than required public road frontage. Required 400 feet, requesting 209 feet at 9424 Gulf Highway in Ward 3. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Had a motion by Mr. Navarre, seconded by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located south of Lake Charles and encompasses 7 acres of agricultural zone land. Currently on the property are 2 single-family dwellings. Under this request, the applicant would place an additional single-family unit on the property immediately and would plan to construct a duplex in the future. All the units would be for rental purposes. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the uses are permitted and the development is consistent with the general area, the staff recommends the request be granted with the condition that the development adhere to the site plan on file, provided that the director may authorize adjustments to plans in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development.
Thank you. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendations? We have no blue cards on this. Staff have any questions or comments? I mean, the board members. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 10, take appropriate action on RZ 10170040, a request by Hackberry Investments 2 LLC to rezone from agricultural A1 and light industrial I1 to general commercial C2 to allow commercial development, parking lot, park and ride facility in the 7100 block of Highway 27 South in Ward 4. I will entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Cobb, seconded by Mr. Navarre. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located in Carlos and encompasses nearly 5 acres of land. In 2016, the board and the police jury approved the applicant's request to rezone the majority of the land to light industrial to allow a lay-down yard on the 40-acre parent tract. If tonight's request is approved, the applicant plans to sell this portion of the land to a developer who will construct the parking facility. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following stipulations: that the development adhere to the site plan on file, provided that the director may authorize adjustments, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development to minimize intrusion onto surrounding properties, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code, that a drainage impact analysis will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and that permitting is subject to approval of the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development.
Thank you. Does the applicant have anything to add to the presentation? Please state your name and address, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Tom Gale. My address is 713 Kirby Street, Lake Charles. Here on behalf of the applicant, What we're seeking to do is establish a park and ride for an established facility that's already operating on the Gulf Coast. These are for permanent employees. These are for local residents. This is principally the residents of Calcasieu Parish who want to be able to ride on a bus instead of putting more cars on the highway. So I'm glad to answer any questions.
Staff have any questions? Board members? Thank you, Mr. Gale. There's no blue cards. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 11, take appropriate action on RZ 12170048, a request by AMAC LLC to rezone from light industrial I-1 and agricultural A-1 to multifamily residential RM to allow multifamily development, 44 duplexes, in the 5700 block of Cormier Road in Ward 7. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
Mr. Navarro made a motion.
Second.
Ms. Cobb makes a second. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located in the Toomey area and encompasses approximately 13 acres of land. If approved, the applicant plans to construct 44 duplexes. The duplexes will all be two-story. Each unit will have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and an enclosed garage for 1 car and over 1,500 square feet under roof. Building exteriors will be stucco, parking and drives will be concrete, and the lone ingress and egress off Cormier Road will be a boulevard entrance with a security gate. The entire development will be screened with a 6-foot wooden privacy fence. We have received an email in opposition to this request, and the email and the submitted photos are attached to the item on your tablets. Because the development is consistent with the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file, provided that the director may authorize adjustments to plans, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development to minimize intrusion onto surrounding areas, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code, that a drainage impact analysis will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and that a letter of no objection from Gravity Drainage District Number 2 of Ward 7 be provided prior to issuance of the development permit.
Thank you, ma'am. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's recommendation? We do have 3 blue cards in opposition. Mr. Danny Benoit. If you would, please state your name and address for the records. Thank you.
Name's Danny Benoit. Live at 5720 Cormier Road, which is approximately 200 to 250 yards to the west of where that's going to turn into that property. And first of all, it's going to be a drainage issue because of what they call white post that I've been there since 1962. And when they fill that in, it already is a problem with flooding right now, and it's going to get worse. There are several people that live on that have already come close to flooding, and once they develop that, it's going to be bad. Second is, I know that originally they tried to sell this as a extension of that RV park, which I didn't really like in the first place, but RV is one thing. But when they developed that, they were talking about bringing in for all the people that live and work in this area, but when all the jobs dry up, that's going to end up being Section 8 housing. And people that live in the country moved out there for a reason. And it's going to drive all of our property values down, and it's not going to be worth it. And that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit. Appreciate you. Next is a John and Debbie Daigle.
Hi, I'm Debbie Daigle. I live at 5672 Cormier Road. Our house is east of this property. My house is in the pictures that I had emailed to you. Our ditches right now are full of water. It never drains. They never are dry. And the mosquitoes is like really bad. It's just, I'm like, with Danny, we're against this. You know, I don't see how they're gonna put all that out there. I don't know, it's very upsetting.
The lighting, I don't know how they're gonna shelter the lighting to keep us, it's dark out there at night, and we like that.
Or the sewer. You know, how are they gonna do the sewage?
That, the sewage system will be done through the engineering department. Once they get all their plans and stuff together, engineering and the Board of Health regulate that particular part of that project.
Now, are they gonna build this property up? Because if they do, that's flooding all of us.
Like let our staff answer that maybe, Mr. West?
Well, they're gonna have to do drainage impact analysis,
Mm-hmm.
and that will determine the impact on the drainage lateral and the surrounding property. So, most likely, what it will result in is them having to do some form of detention, so that there is zero impact to the surrounding properties. But that is done during the engineering phase of this. It hasn't been engineered yet. So we're stipulating that. It has to meet all that requirement. So the developer is still gonna have to jump through, you know, several hoops in order to be able to get permitted. And that will be one of them.
We've also had problems from the campground,
Mm-hmm.
people walking through our yards in the evenings and at night. And we don't know who they are, and that's dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Like we've got a neighbor, she didn't make it tonight, but she's been robbed 4 or 5 times out there, and a couple of them has been in the broad daylight. And the lighting, I think, is gonna be a big issue too.
Well, it's already an issue from the RV park.
Right.
I mean, all the lights are facing towards our house. You know, I have elderly lady that's 85 that lives behind us, and she's there by herself, you know, and, I mean, she's just lit up.
Yes,
She's
ma'am.
worried about who's gonna move in, you know, because there's gonna be, to the east of that, our house is right on the side of it. There's gonna be 9 of them right there on that side, facing the back of it to our property. You know, it's just, you know, after all these, I would say the workers, I'm sure that's who they're gonna rent to. What are they gonna do to it when all this work's gone? You know,
Yes.
they don't care that we are out there. They're gonna put it in, go on about their business, get their money each month. Then we have to deal with all the riffraff, the thieving, you know, the trash on the side of the roads, because we keep our road picked up. Everybody that lives out there, when we mow both sides of the road and pick all the trash up.
All right.
So,
Thank you very
know.
much.
got anything else?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Our third blue card is a Philip Parker.
Philip Parker, I live at 5576 Mott Road, which is just around the corner from this. It's literally my backyard. The same people, to touch base on some of the things that has happened in this ditch that they're talking about, the drainage ditch,
Yes, sir.
talking about the sewer. These people have already took a jagger pump and pumped their raw sewage into that, keep from having to have it hauled off wherever they haul it. I don't know. This is about, back in the 60s, 70s, this was all rice field. I don't know if y'all know much about rice field. You go in and you water level these pieces of property. So they're all just barely stair-step 3 inches above each other. This is some of the taller property. We already, around the corner, flood because it cannot handle the water. I've been on the rice field in that area since the early 80s, cutting levees. they're gonna have to do something, a major canal, to do something with this water. There's lots of water stands in my yard, and there's been over 100 loads of dirt just to lift our property high enough to build something on.
Yes, sir.
And that's just where the house is. So, with that being said, you know, the people at Gravity Drainage already know there's no way to cut the ditch any deeper where it's at. It empties into the marsh, just a couple hundred, 300 yards, maybe 400 yards at the most, to the southeast of there.
Yes, sir.
Lots of trash and all that stuff is already washing from the RV park. You can go take pictures of the, right there on Cormier Road, right between both of these people's house. Piles of garbage. You know, how much worse is it gonna have to get? Would y'all want this in y'all's backyard? Just a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Do our board members have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, maybe the applicant might.
Would the applicant like to come back up and address any of these items?
Merrill Porsche, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 10988 North Harris Ferry Road.
Thank
I'm
you.
actually the civil engineer on the project, and I guess these guys haven't seen the map, but this is going to be a high-end development, and there's going to be about 2.5 acre pond that I plan to drain everything to that particular pond and probably reduce the drainage. Taking a look at the survey, I understood what they were saying, something about the flooding and the ditches and all. Some of that stuff is going to have to be redone, but the entire property will be contained within itself. And the gated part of it is to, I guess some of the duplexes are high-end duplexes. They're not going to be something that you can rent for $600. That's where we stand with that.
All right, sir. Any board members have any other questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. No more questions? I'm sorry, sir. No, thank you. Ms. Christie, can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Armentor,
Yes.
Mr. Navarre,
No.
Mr. Williams,
Yeah.
Ms. Cobb,
Yes.
Ms. Dickerson,
No.
Mr. Porsche,
Yes.
Ms. Hyatt,
No.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
5 for and 3 against.
The motion carries. Item number 12. Take appropriate action on RZ 0118-009. We'll hold up just for a second and let these ladies and gentlemen clear the room. Item number 12, take appropriate action on RZ 0118-0049, a request by Travis Farley to rezone from agricultural A1 to light commercial C1 to allow a commercial development convenience store at the northwest corner of Royer Loop and Highway 27 in Ward 6. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
Ms. Navarre, and a second by Ms. Dickerson. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located north of Sulphur and encompasses over 5 acres. If approved, the applicant plans to sell the land to a developer who would like to construct a convenience store at this location. Although the site would be developed to accommodate tractor trailers, the developer is not planning to operate a truck stop. The exterior of the building would consist of brick and metal. Parking and drives would be concrete. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the proposed zoning is consistent with the zoning in the area, the staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file, provided that the director may authorize adjustments to plans, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development to minimize intrusion, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code, that a drainage impact analysis will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, and that permitting is subject to approval of the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development.
Thank you. Would the applicant have anything they need to add to the staff's recommendations? We have one blue card in favor of Mr. Travis Farley. That's the applicant. Thank you. Staff have any, and the board have any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 13, take appropriate action on RZ 0118-0050, a request by Prairie Land Company to rezone from agricultural A1 to light commercial C1 to allow commercial development of a convenience store in the 8500 block of Gulf Highway in Ward 3. I'll entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dickerson, a second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located south of Lake Charles and encompasses just under 1 acre of land. If the rezoning is approved, the applicant will sell the land to a developer who will construct the convenience store. The store will have a brick and metal exterior. Parking and drives will be concrete. We have not received any written opposition to this request. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, the site plan and elevations on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director may authorize adjustments to plans, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development to minimize intrusion onto surrounding areas, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 2650 of the Parish Code, that a drainage impact analysis will be required without an appropriate waiver granted by the Division of Engineering, and that permitting is subject to approval of the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development.
Thank you, ma'am. Does the applicant have anything to add?
No, only do the questions.
Does the board have any questions? We have no blue cards. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14. Take appropriate action on SUB 0118-0095, a request by Perry's Ridge LLC for preliminary subdivision approval to allow a single-family residential subdivision, 81 lots in Pierre's Ridge subdivision, Phase 2, in the 6700 block of Lake Street in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval with conditions.
So moved.
Mr. Navarro made a motion, Ms. Dickerson second. Ms. Wallace?
This property is located south of Lake Charles and encompasses nearly 54 acres of single-family residential and agricultural zone land. The applicant would like to divide the land into 81 lots for residential development. The smallest lot in the development would be .27 acres, while the largest lot will be approximately a full acre. In the next agenda item, the applicant is requesting the agricultural portion of the land be rezoned to single-family residential. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the development meets the requirements for single-family residential zoning, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development is subject to an application for and/or compliance with an LPDES stormwater discharge permit, which may be required through the Department of Environmental Quality and the Calcasieu Parish Division of Planning and Development, and that the preliminary plat and the drainage impact analysis must be approved by the Division of Engineering prior to submittal of engineering plans.
Thank you. The applicant have any additional information? No blue cards? Board have any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 15, take appropriate action on RZ 0118-0051, a request by Pierre's Ridge LLC to rezone from agricultural A1 to single-family residential R1 to allow residential development, 81 lots in Pierre's Ridge subdivision, Phase 2, in the 6700 block of Lake Street in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
I've got a motion by Mr. Navarre,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace?
The proposed subdivision encompasses nearly 54 acres. 47 of the 54 acres is currently zoned agricultural. The applicant would like to rezone the land to allow for more urban lot sizes. We have not received any written opposition to this request, and because the proposed zoning is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted.
Thank you, ma'am. The applicant has any additional information? Does the board have any questions or comment? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 16. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the police jury took the following actions on January the 11th, 2018, with reference to the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Board from the January 9th, 2018 meeting. Cavilo Keel Road, Planning and Zoning approved, police jury upheld. Division of Planning, Fruget Road, Planning and Zoning approved.
Was that
police-
Montgomery? Was that Scott Montgomery?
Scott Montgomery was Thompson, but that wasn't going before the police jury.
Oh,
That was
okay.
just an exception.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. The police jury overturned that particular one. D&G Construction, John Brandon Road, Planning and Zoning approved, police jury upheld. Natalie Lake Street was withdrawn. Pierre's Ridge, Ella Kate Lane, the Planning and Zoning approved, police jury upheld. Item number 17. The next item on the agenda is to advise that the next regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning meeting will be held on Tuesday, March the 20th, 2018, in the police jury meeting room. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Dickerson, second by Ms. Cobb.
All those in favor?
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
So was that?
Thank you all.